Sponsored by Shenanigan Sports Pub.
Hold the Mayo. It's time for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Find out what's being served with Mike, Defo, and Lubie, the only show that covers food, sports, and the proper maintenance of your car. And now, a man who had the distinction of having an entire health clinic named in his honor, Mike Mayo.
I want the frim sauce with the awesome bay, with shafafa on the side.
Good afternoon and good evening, depending on when and where you're tuning in. And welcome to another edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, coming to you from the respective man caves today on a Thursday of Mike Mayo. That's me, Mike Lubitz, that's him. And missing today in action is one Jeff Defo DeForest. He apparently is being philanthropic minded today, not actually donating money at a local parimutuel, but I think he got roped into some kind of charity luncheon, which is a very noble thing. I'm not exactly sure of the particulars. All I know is that I got a somewhat frantic text last night saying, I'm going to miss the show tomorrow. The Mustang has roped me into some sort of luncheon affair, and it sounds pretty swanky if he has to I think he had to get dressed up and showered and all that stuff. So, how are you today, Lubie?
I'm a lot better today than I was this time yesterday. It is fun, Defo getting dressed up. He's like a little kid, you know how like they go harumph. Like he's a grown man. He's done a lot of really interesting things in his career, pretty magnificent things. Yet if he has to put on a jacket, he makes a face. It's like, dude.
So yeah, he's one of those like me. I never wanted to wear a jacket and tie for work. I do sometimes clean up well, and if I'm emceeing an affair, I'll put on a tie. If I get invited to a wedding, I'll put on a tie. If I go to a funeral of somebody that I particularly respected, I'll put. Well, I don't know if do people even wear ties for funerals anymore? Not in Florida. No, they just kind of show up with a little jacket and an open collar shirt. But anyway, let us talk. Well, yesterday you should have been, I guess, burying my grumpy mug, except it would have been empty because you couldn't eat or drink anything with the fast. Let's do a little wrap up of the Yom Kippur holiday, but and also today, Lubie. I don't know if you know what today is.
What is it?
On the food calendar presented by the Ministry of National Silly Food Holidays is it is National Noodle Day, and when I say noodle, is there a distinction between noodles and pasta? Is like one, I guess exclusive of the other, or are they synonyms? How do you regard this? If like it's not National Pasta Day, it's National Noodle Day. So what's appropriate?
Well, I think it's funny that the well-renowned food critic is asking me, so that's nice of you. It's a little modest of you. It's actually a question I want to ask you because my nephews have gotten to this thing. My mother, like they're at that age, they're 4 and 7, where like there's like 5 things they'll eat, especially the 4-year-old. He likes chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, egg McMuffins with sausage, and pasta. He always calls it pasta, and I'm like, but if it's just a noodle by itself with like Parmesan cheese and butter, is that pasta or noodles? Because I think of it as noodles, and you actually popped in my head, and I'm like, I need to ask Mayo that, like. Because I feel like my wife has got me into saying pasta. You know, we've been to Italy, we went to France. So I say pasta when it's certain dishes, but if it's chicken soup, I'm not calling it pasta, even though it's really the same thing.
Right. And this is the weird part. Now, when you think noodles, obviously there's the egg buttered noodles that you eat in Pennsylvania, Dutch country, that you have on top of, it's like if you have pot roast on top of noodles, like wide noodles. That's like you think of noodles, wider things made with egg noodles. And of course, like when I think noodles, I think Asian food and Asian soups. You got your things like the ramen have noodles. You have the pho. The Vietnamese pho is noodles. And just even when you go for Chinese food, you got lo mein, and then you have rice noodles, and then you have the regular buckwheat. Well, you have buckwheat noodles in Japanese restaurants. So that. But to me, some pastas are pasta, like ziti, the tubular things.
Okay.
Spaghetti is spaghetti. But it's funny because I prepared today because I was in a rush and I didn't have time to go to any like the Asian markets. But I just had a box of vermicelli in my cupboard. Now, vermicelli,
Should be pasta.
when I
but-
hear vermicelli, even though it's pasta, a lot of people say a vermicelli noodle,
Yep.
So, and basically the way I got away with going to be celebrating with this bowl of vermicelli noodles for Noodle Day here, because it's not a lunchbox unless I'm stuffing my face, right, Lubie?
Yep, that's the right.
There's two things. One, you don't put tomato sauce and cheese on it because that makes it pasta.
Okay.
So what I did is I put butter and soy sauce and a little spicy Asian, like the sriracha sauce in here. I mix it up
Any
in my
veggies,
vermicelli.
spinach, green beans.
No, today it's not National Noodle and Vegetable Day. It's straight up Noodle Day.
Carrots.
And the other thing that I think could turn a pasta, like a borderline situation, into a noodle
Chopsticks.
is these two things right here, chopsticks. Because if you got chopsticks in your bowl of noodles,
Yeah, you're not doing
and
that.
then you start like picking them up like this and start slurping them really loud and obnoxiously, especially when you're broadcasting on the air, that makes it a noodle.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's true. When you go, you're never going to an Italian restaurant, red sauce or otherwise. It would be sick to his stomach. So red sauce or otherwise, and using chopsticks. So I guess that's what it is. If you can use chopsticks with it, even if there's liquid and some kind of meat with it, it's a noodle.
So happy National Noodle Day to everybody. I just slurped some, and yes, I know it's not the prettiest sight. Or if you're tuning in on the audio only, consider yourself lucky, but you will be hearing me slurp occasionally. And did you know I learned this when I went to Japan for the 1998 Nagano Winter Olympics, and I can't believe it's coming up on 25 years ago. How crazy is that?
That's crazy.
But I learned in Japan that when you go to a noodle shop, everybody is just silently hunched over their bowls with their chopsticks and just slurping like this.
So slurping's accepted because I always feel weird about slurping. I'm a slurper when I have soup, and I feel like my wife's staring at me, going, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" So like, it's almost like it would be a detriment if you didn't slurp. Is that what it is? Like
Exactly.
Like
Now you're learning about cultures of different countries, and you learn that it's considered an insult and rude to the chef if you're not slurping your noodles. It means you're not enjoying them or relishing them with gusto. So because I always like to be the, very diplomatic when I travel around the world, I like to absorb and then follow the customs of different countries and cultures. So you will always find me when I'm having my chopsticks and noodles, no matter where I am. I will slurp it. And if people give me a look, I'll just say, hey, I'm just trying to be a good eater, a good man, a good citizen of the world. And when I do that at poker tables, like I did, I think the other night, I had really delicious lo mein noodles that they make at the Bowl at the Hard Rock. The Asian restaurant, the Bowl, BOL. If you've ever been in there, it's good because it's, first of all, there are things that you should be eating and should not be eating at a poker table. The thing you should not be eating is anything that involves greasy food that you pick up with your hands. So, and I'm always mystified how like some people and some poker rooms actually serve like chicken wings.
I was gonna say wings or pizza.
And pizza, because those are the two like things that have the most, they're rife with potential for disaster in terms of grease stains on fingers, which then get transferred to cards, which can then mark cards, and then it gives it's just, you got to bring in a new deck. So when I am eating at a poker table, which sometimes you got to do at a tournament because these things can grind on for 6 or 7 hours, and not all of them have the longest dinner breaks, and sometimes I get there late. So quite often I will grab on the first break. I'll go over to the bowl, and it's really great at a poker table. You just get yourself some noodles and some chopsticks, and then usually like the smell of they do the like they call it the house special lo mein there. They fry it, and it's got like the beef, and they use good quality beef there because their lo mein is not, it's expensive. It's not like Defo going to his plexiglass, little corner haunt where they also, deal in other various black market
gambling.
but this is not like out of a cardboard box. They serve it in a nice little plastic container, but it's 20. It ends up being with tax and tip like close to $30. It's like
What?
$24 with, and then you gotta throw them a $5. So, but they use really good quality meat, and they have like beef, roast pork, and chicken. If
Nice.
you want shrimp, that's going to cost extra, which it's a little bit unfortunate, but
Exactly.
it's a really good quality. And then, I just sit there, and the smells that come wafting when you just first open it up, it's like when you get in an airplane. That's another no-no. And like people just give you that look. But at the poker table, the dealer's like, "Oh, I'm so hungry," and I'm just sitting there, just slurping it. Just go,
Pounding.
that's good. So
Yeah,
good."
okay, but that's the other thing to me. Are you gonna sit and have like a steak? Like I get you don't want your hands to get dirty for also, rule reasons where you don't want cheating, but you also just don't want to dirty the cards. Other people are touching them. But
Right.
are you gonna sit there and eat like with a fork and a knife?
Well,
I feel like
a
that's
lot of these, and we've gone into a topic of expertise for me, because I've been at all the different rooms around town, and it's funny watching the dining habits of poker players. Just talk about,
pretty
as gross as I am, you should see some of these people. But at different places, like at the Pompano facility, they have that high class steakhouse, Faraday's right next to the poker room.
Yep.
And a lot of the high rollers and just the regular players, they'll go in. They'll basically order to go. They have these little carts that you could set up next to your poker seat, so you're not hunched over the table, but you could kind of twist around and pivot.
Yeah.
And a lot of them get the grilled fish, the salmon. A lot of them get steak and potatoes, and you eat it with a knife and fork, and you just kind of in between hands. And there's a lot of dead hands in poker where you just throw them away and you're not playing,
Just
so you can
screwing around.
kind of just swivel and lean over and cut your cut your nice premium steak. They do that at the aisle. The Hard Rock room has like kind of this grab and go menu of really hideous items. You can go out to the bowl, you can go out to the Hard Rock Cafe and pick up a burger or chicken sandwich, which sometimes I do, but again, it's finger food, and I don't like that. But the regular poker room, they have this waitress service, and they have this like little sheet, and it's everything that's like microwaved in a bowl, like pasta and some rice dishes and something like that. And it's just, most of that food is not good. Do not recommend that. But again, it is convenient, and you don't have to use your hands for it, so that's a good thing. And then there are some places where they still serve the chicken wings and the grilled cheese sandwiches, and that's like at the Mardi Gras or Big Easy. And yeah, it's one of those things where sometimes a good salad, and that's where they have those great salads too that I was munching on when I was trying to lose weight and spectacularly failing. But all right, enough poker food talk. How did we get from noodles to here? I don't know, but I want to get back to the fast. And
Okay.
so
Did you at any point in your life do it? Growing up, I know.
So,
but
no, I did it a lot, and I like the symbolism of it, even though I'm not particularly religious, and I don't, go to shul or go to, any organized prayer services anymore. I am spiritual, and I am, I like the symbolism of, purifying oneself and just devoting oneself completely to spirituality for a day. And I know the question for you is, well, did you have? I hope you say have an easy fast, and so did you have an easy fast?
Yeah, it's funny. My
Yeah.
sister, we've been doing this since we're children because my mom always did it. And growing up, we were really religious. And as I've gotten older, look, I've learned a lot of people do this. Like I'm spiritual, I'm traditional. I don't know how religious I am. As I've learned about society and life and become more educated. But growing up, we were more religious. So I started young. At like 10 years old, I was fasting, and my sister, my brother started pretty young too. And I've never had issues. My sister yesterday, actually, after doing it for 30 some odd years or 25 years. My younger sister had a migraine, like was sick to the point where
Oh
she
yeah.
actually tapped out like 20 minutes early. And actually, even when we started eating, she didn't even eat because was so, I think, dehydrated that she was nauseous and couldn't even eat. It's gotten somewhat easy for me. Like I'm so used to it at this point, and I'm so busy with life that like even though we didn't have a show, I was still working all day. We're selling our house, we're buying a house.
You
My
see,
cat
and
has a cone on her face.
so here's where I'm going to call timeout, and because the whole point of the holidays, you're supposed to be doing nothing but like devoting yourself to God. You go to, temple and synagogue for like, I don't know. It seemed like when I was a kid, we'd be in there like from sunrise to almost sunset with maybe a 2-hour break where we'd walk home, realize how hungry we are, and then have to walk back to shul. I mean, we were pretty observant in my younger days, and but then I realized like all you do, and that's if you're doing it, like the
Really
fully
nice.
religious way. And then, there's many people who, and I'm not knocking anybody who wants to do any kind of observance and any day they want. So you do a little bit of work, you're on your phone, you're on your computer, you're making a home that, but you're still not going to eat. Like, I don't get that. And number two, and again, it's fine. Everybody can
It
do
is what it
whatever they
is.
want. Anybody, but to me, it's so funny because by having this one day of fasting, it's like everything revolves around this fast, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, we got to fast. We got to get the bagels ready, and we got to prepare the chopped liver, and we got to get the egg salad ready." All you're doing on this day where you're not supposed to be thinking about food is thinking about food.
100%.
So, at some point,
Yeah,
wouldn't
to
it
come
be
back to
more
morality.
efficient if, like if Moses came down from on high again with some tablets that said, "You know what, on Yom Kippur, go to shul, pray a lot, concentrate, eat a little bit so you get some energy." And there's obviously special dispensation for people who are elderly, like my mom, people who are sick, people who have certain medical conditions, like diabetics. They have to, their blood sugar can
Yes.
go to dangerous levels. I guess I'm going to claim that exemption, even though I'm not
There you
officially diabetic. Getting into that zone, wading into that end of the pool, but no, it just seems to me. Look, it's a great tradition, and if people who can do it, and I did it for a lot of years. I even did it up to a couple of years ago. But
go.
yesterday I had to deal with, I was preparing a breakfast meal for my brother and his wife came over later in the day. We got some great stuff from Grandpa's. I went into Grandpa's earlier in the day because they were open all day.
You look slammed.
One of And yeah, they had these
Oh,
bags, just a full array. But I wanted to get the fresh stuff. It was great. I got in there and I got, the bagels right out of the oven. I got there at 9
nice.
a.m. And there's no better feeling than when you get those, when they put them
Me
in the paper
myself.
bag and actually the bag steams up and gets a little,
Yeah.
kind of gets a little wet. And then you got to kind of transfer them let them cool off and put them in the plate. But it was so warm, and just and then it's like, oh my God, it would be such a waste to not eat one of these
Have
freshly
to.
baked
Yeah.
bagels. But my mom, she ate her usual lunch, and I gave her, it was still warm bagel, and got the great products there. You got the smoked Nova, the lox, the
Does have
uh,
whitefish? They must have solid
we
whitefish.
got whitefish salad, got chopped herring, we got sable, which a lot of people on Let's Eat
Dad
South Florida
loves.
didn't. That is a premium product. It comes from the Pacific Northwest, Alaska. It's related. Some people call it black cod. It's not actually codfish, but it's a very uh, delicate and fatty, flavorful fish. That's a white fish, and they smoke it. And the place where all the good quality delis get it down here is called Acme Smokehouse in Brooklyn. And that's where grandpas get their stuff, and it costs an arm and a leg, but once a year you have
Yep.
it's a holiday. So and I had that bite of a bagel that I did, a lightly toasted sesame bagel last night. I smeared a little butter on it, which I know Defo's a butter guy on bagels
I'm
though.
weird about it.
But
On everything, it's okay. I don't know. When you're having lox, like you gotta have cream cheese if you're having
no,
it.
lox is definitely cream cheese, but with this sable, this was like butter on butter. It's like I spread a
This
little bit of butter on the toasted bagel and then put the sable on top of the butter. Because to me, the cream cheese would overwhelm the sable.
you're
For
not
some reason, the smokiness of the Nova lox, like that's a perfect
it
fit
works.
for cream cheese. But sable, I love that little buttery fish on top of actual butter.
Yeah.
And I was just in heaven last night. I had a little bit of wine. So everything was good. And, so for when you
Yeah,
ask me,
for
did
not
you
fat.
have an easy fast? And my answer was, yeah, it was real easy. It lasted about 3 minutes and included a pizza from the pizza spot at some point. Um,
I don't know. I go to services, so I do some, religiosity. We go to services in the morning. We were younger. We used to go from like 9 to 2. It's sort of morphed into we go from like 10:30 to like 12:30, and then we go back around like 6:30 till about 8. And that's what I do. And in the middle of the day, I usually try not to do too much work because again, I try to focus on the holiday, but it's 2022, so
Yeah.
like I have a TV and I have a phone. It's there. I'm getting emails. Guests are popping up. You're texting me stuff on social. I sort of still have
I was
my
mean.
job doesn't go away. Like my job, even when I'm not on air, I'm still sort of working.
Yeah.
So like I really can't just tap out. So it is what it is. I mean, look, I told you yesterday. That's why when you sent the pizza, what was it, Tuesday, to sort of
I
mock
sent
me,
it on an evening after it already got dark.
root
But
me
for
on.
the record, I ordered and ate the pizza at Pizza Spot. I went over there, saw Wade and Reese, and said hello. I hadn't been in there in a while, and they're doing, their business has really picked up with football season here, and Wade was very proud because they got, he was installing and getting ready to put in this second pizza oven because the oven there, they only fit like 3 pizzas at a time because if you crowd the pizza oven, it gets too soggy. There's a whole science to it. So he put in this second oven because now when the season comes, and especially with football season and football games and people put in orders, he needs to have 2 ovens working. So anyway, I for the first time had a pizza that came out of that brand new, newly christened second oven that he uses wood fired. It's not coal fired, but the results are the same. New Haven, when they use coal, get that nice char. It's not burn. But I had you saw the picture. I ate the before sundown, but I sent the picture to you after sundown just to kind of rub it in a little. That was mean. I apologize, and I asked for God. I asked God for atonement and forgiveness
On the
for it.
Day of Atonement. So for me, look, and as I replied to you, I'm like, I don't judge anyone. Do you? Whatever, either way, religious or not. For me, it's become. I'm very traditional in many ways. I just am. I'm a progressive man in my thinking, but my habits, I'm traditional and things I've just done. People ask you, why do you do that? Like my wife, she can't understand any of it. The Catholic in her, who's not even. I mean, she's not lapsed. Like she has her beliefs, but she doesn't go to church a lot. She's like, you believe all these things, but then you don't believe them. I'm like, I don't know, babe. Like I'm traditional. I've done it my whole life. I'm not worried about how my mom would judge me or my grandmother, God rest her soul. It's just for me, I've done it. I just keep doing it. I don't judge anyone else. And it is what it is. And I don't know if I don't know. After I do it, I do feel a sense of, Defo thinks it's the greatest idea to be able to be a scumbag all year, have one day of atoning, and then be clean.
Get that one.
I don't think of it that way.
Yeah.
I try to be good all year. Like Valentine's isn't the only time I love my wife. Like I try to be good all year round, but I do feel, I don't know, like people do that. They do these cleanses, right? Like I do feel after a day of
Oh yeah,
not
now there's
eating.
intermittent fasting and 5-day fasting and things it yeah, it's become a thing, fasting. And it always amuses me also because well, actually there's a number of fasting holidays on the Jewish calendar, but Yom Kippur is the big one. It's the one that most people observe. But I have friends that are Muslim, and Ramadan, they're basically doing a dawn to dusk fast every day.
Yep,
And they're also not allowed to drink water. And some of these, some of them have outdoor jobs and working in, roofing industry or working outside. That to me, imagine,
That's crazy.
can you imagine the,
Not crazy. I mean,
yeah,
I am impressed by them that they do it. Like I'm not judging them. I'm like, I couldn't even imagine, because you can't take a month off, so you have to keep working. Like what?
yeah, no, they
That,
work,
when,
but every night
I would do it during the
they the Muslim faith, and I've gotten to go to some of the, I think it's I forget what I think it's called iftar meal. It's after the evening prayer after the sun sets, and they have a big meal. So they are eating at night, but it's still quite a test. They gotta try to wake up early and sneak in a couple of little breakfast, a little yogurt, and then a couple of eggs, and then go the whole day. But it's a different kind of endurance test, fasting for 28 days from the new moon to the next moon. So yeah, anyway, it's all I guess part of the same philosophy, is just purification, cleansing, and devotion, and not worrying about earthly matters, except that everybody ends up worrying about the earthly matters. And oh my god, I'm hungry. All right, let's take a little break here. Oh, well, first I want to put in a good word for our friends at Shenanigans. It's a NFL Thursday night football night. I don't even know who's playing, but all I know is it's Denver, probably, because they're
Broncos and the Colts.
The
Broncos
Colts. They can't get enough Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan. A
sense.
little bit rough start with Indy, but 2 teams that have had wobbly beginnings, and there's a long way to go in the season. So, and you know what? Any football game is fun when you go to Shenanigans, because you're going to get the good wings, you get the good burgers, the good barbecue. fish sandwiches, fish tacos. I was there on Sunday watching some late afternoon evening football with my daughter. She had a burger. It was terrific. I had a fish sandwich special, which was a yellowtail snapper. That was absolutely fantastic. They do it that way with the garlic aioli and the little arugula on a beautiful bun. And that fish was so tender and fresh. Pat Utter there, the crew at Shenanigans, they never use frozen fish. He says friends don't let friends eat frozen fish. It's always fresh off the boat at Shenanigans. There's 2 locations for you to enjoy all the food, friends, frivolity, and football. It's the original location celebrating its 30th anniversary right across from TY Park in Hollywood on Park Road and Sheridan Street. And then there's my local, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Both locations are open late. The kitchens are open well past midnight. So if you're looking for that late night grub, go there. And any time of the day, you're going to get all kinds of good drink specials along with daily food specials and any ball game that you want to watch. This weekend is going to be huge between football and the baseball playoffs getting underway with these really intense 3-game series. Let's go Mets. See. But Shenanigans, the place to go for food, football, and fun. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
All righty, coming up next, more of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox here in South Florida.
Live. We're going to have a special guest, too. I'm very excited. Special guest coming up.
Oldie station as well on the radio. Coming up next, the horse whisperer herself, one and only Kaiten Bradar, will be joining us here on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, right here on South Florida Live.
If you're looking for a great place for steaks, seafood, and more, go to Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of I-95 and the airport. They've been there a long time, since 1949. That means they're doing something right. You'll get old school hospitality from the Studiali family, along with great value, for tremendous service. Of course, you could also go into the bar for happy hour every day, 4 to 6. The early bird special runs from 4:30 to 5:30, and they have great value all night long. Also, a butcher shop that's open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sunday. The dining room is open every day at 4:30 except Sunday. Go to Tropical Acres. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you. Hey, it's Mike Mayo. When the Brooklyn boy in me wants a good bagel with Nova or some matzo ball soup, homemade knishes, or a great deli pastrami sandwich on rye, you know where I go? Grandpa's Cafe in Dania Beach. It's been around a long time, an institution, but a little over a year ago, a pair of New Yorkers came in, bought it, and refurbished the place. It's beautiful, and they are now serving great breakfast, brunch, lunch. They've got the omelets. They've got eggs Benedict. They've got all kinds of great baked goods like rugelach. Grandpa's is just off Federal Highway on Southwest 1st Street in Dania Beach. It's open 7 days. Go in there, tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. When I'm looking for some wicked good food for a wicked good lunch, there's only one place to go. That's Wicked Cheesesteaks in Fort Lauderdale. It's at 4824 North Federal Highway, just south of Commercial Boulevard and across from Holy Cross Hospital. My friend Brian there, he will hook you up with some really tasty treats. They've got cheesesteaks, just like the best you can find in Philly, along with lobster rolls, because that's where he's from, Maine originally, and they have wings and pizza and everything you want to have a really good time. Wicked Cheesesteaks, they're open every day but Tuesday. Go in there on a Wednesday. They got buy one, get one on cheesesteaks from 5 to 8 p.m. Check them out online, wickedcheesesteaks.com. Tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
She's not lying, I'm telling you, man.
We're back on the Lunchbox, and we have no Defo today. And that's good news for us, because as much as we love Defo, and I do love to give him a hard time about everything, I would much rather be looking at the smiling visage of my friend and longtime friend of the Lunchbox broadcast, and as well as the Defo show, Kaiten Bradar, coming to us live, I guess, from Louisville, Kentucky. Is that right? Uh-oh, the cat has knocked. Oh, there we go.
This is Bandit knocking us.
Hi, Bandit. We are pet friendly
You're
here.
Challenged to be lover of the show, which you can tell. He's when he's our stouter. So Bandit is less 15 pounds worth. So.
Excellent. Well, it seems like the microphone is a little choppy. I don't know if it's because of the Zoom meeting that you are on. I know you had a very important call with your people at now FanDuel TV. For those in our audience, they know Caton, longtime publicity director at Calder Racecourse, back when there was a Calder Racecourse racing horses. And of course, then she's gone on to fame and fortune in the national broadcast game. And what was TVG is now FanDuel TV, but they still have the best of all worlds for us degenerates, especially because not only do they have all the racing action from around the country, and that's why we wanted to have it on today, because tomorrow starts the fall meet of Keeneland, wonderful Keeneland in Lexington, Kentucky, and that's going to bring us into the Breeders' Cup in the first weekend in November, Friday and Saturday, which this year is also taking place at Keeneland in Kentucky. So we figured we'd get a resident of the fine the bluegrass Commonwealth, not a state, it's Commonwealth, and so here we are with Caton, but we'll also talk food. And before we get started, I guess me and Lubie were talking about fasting, or in my case, not fasting, because it was the Jewish holiday yesterday. But on the Lunchbox now that we're video streaming, I love to celebrate all the silly food holidays that are on the calendar. And today, believe it or not, is National Noodle Day. So I'm going to raise a pair of chopsticks and some vermicelli in butter and soy sauce to you, Caton, and give you a big slurpful welcome to the Lunchbox while I eat my noodles.
Mayo.
I said technically any noodles that I for lunch just be a different type of pasta. I mean, it just wasn't the style noodles, but type of a holiday for sure.
All right, cool. So, are you going to be going down to Keeneland at all, or are you doing any work for FanDuel?
I'll be there every day, and might not know, or who might be confused. So fan account, everything stays the same. You can still wager that way, but it does open a door to and brings in the sports, and hopefully one day everybody has a FanDuel account, would be, as well as horse racing right through there. Right now, the only thing that's changed is that there is no longer a television station. And on the apps, if you have to see FanDuel Plus, it happened overnight. As a thing, the coverage from Keeneland is the same, if not more, than we've, and it will extend right into the breeder. There's going to be a lot of excitement. Not tomorrow, every day of the meet cup, I might be at Churchill watching the Breeders' Cup horses shows. Breakfast at the breed before Breeders' Cup.
Hey, Caton, I hate to interrupt you, but we're still having a little audio difficulty with you. I don't know if you can hear us. It's very choppy. It's like we're riding through the waves of the Gulf Stream. Maybe can you try disconnecting and shutting down and then trying again? Because sometimes I know when I get done with the Zoom meeting and I go right into the restream, weird things happen on my computer. Everything in life now is a technological battle. And there are internal forces that, even in our own minds sometimes, and our own computers, you have Microsoft versus Apple versus Amazon. So anytime you have these different things that you load into your computer or on your phone from these different things, like the AT&T DirecTV people, are battling with, the Dish people are battling with ESPN. It's just a very complicated world now. So
he's back. We can give it a try.
All right, let's give it one more try and see if we get
of Caton
Radar. Let's try it again.
Okay. Any better?
I think it's better. Yeah.
Sounds good, but it's you sound great. It just skips once in a while, but
maybe that's better.
No, it'd be better if it was me, not you. Everything you have to say.
Word up right. if this does work, I'll be there every day for Keeneland because with the Breeders' Cup, it's almost better, and it's already look forward to. But I've always, as much, if not more than the colors, but also the crowd is toward the racing. They have more social happenings. So, but I just have always really enjoyed the fall. Excited about it.
All right. Well, you're excited for Keeneland. I'm excited for Keeneland. It's going to be a great weekend because there's like 11 different stakes races. But I guess, is there anything that sticks out to you? Like, what's the highlight of the next 2 days that people should be watching?
Especially starting on Friday, they're up. So they definitely are races that are, for instance, the tomorrow. Top. This is sort of a preview for it. You've also got a Jessamine, and that is a really excited, great betting race. Is usually one of the more important 2-year-old filly season. I mean, of the year cup. So that because of the especially, if you've bruised teeth.
Kate, and I got to cut in again because it's just for whatever reason the gambling gods are against us today. I guess that this is God punishing me for having a fast that lasted about 3 minutes before I started stuffing my face with leftover pizza that I had from the pizza spot. But so we're gonna try again some other day, and I guess I really did want to catch up. I wanted to talk to you about all kinds of other things I know going on in your life, but you're going to be spending more time in Florida this winter, which is great.
Nice.
Just me and Doug and you can go out and you can become more part of the whole gambling gourmet scene, including some Lunchbox remotes that we have once Gulfstream gets back and running. And so anyway, it's good to see you. We'll catch up. We're gonna see. Everybody could see Caton every day during the fall Keeneland meet, and it begins tomorrow. It runs through the end of the month, and then I think they go away for a couple days to Churchill and then come back, or are they just staying all the way through for the special Breeders' Cup meet? But anyway, go to FanDuel TV, formerly known as TVG. And you'll be able to see, she is one of the most astute handicappers. And again, she notices the horse's body language, how they warm up. It can be very profitable if you listen to one, Kate and Bradar, on FanDuel TV. And they also have all kinds of other sports handicapping programming now for those who are involved in the betting worlds of football, fantasy football, and the like. So, and it's too bad we couldn't talk much of food because Kate, when she travels around, she ends up having a lot of good meals with some of the other personalities in horse racing. Sometimes get some good lowdown of tips of where you should go, not on the horses, not which horses to bet on, but what restaurants to frequent. So anyway, thanks again to Caton for stopping by. Next time we'll sort out all the technical issues. And so it's just me and you, Lubie. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, I don't know if you caught anything on Let's Eat South Florida in the last 12 hours. I guess the big brouhaha is, I'm going to call it the half dozen brouhaha. There was a woman who went to a local deli. It's Pomperdale, and I was just at Pomperdale for Sandwich Month.
They were sponsored for us for years. And
they do a nice job. But this woman who said she'd been going there for years, and she just wrote this flaming post because, and I guess she must have gone in there on the morning of the holiday or on Tuesday or Wednesday. She wanted to buy a dozen bagels. They don't even bake their own bagels at Pomperdale. It's more of a, deli with soups and sandwiches. Yep. But they had a big case filled with bagels along with a bunch of appetizing smoked fish, because for the holidays, that's what for Yom Kippur, that's the traditional thing to eat. But this woman went in there and she wanted to get a dozen bagels. It was 7:30 in the morning, And apparently they refused her and said, sorry, we have a limited number of bagels and we can only sell you 6. And this woman just snapped because there was a whole pile of them in the case. And the thing is, I guess,
She's
my
really
thinking was there must have been a lot of pre-orders and they had to put things into bags and boxes, but she couldn't imagine if that was the case. Why would they even put it into a display case? Why wouldn't they just have it off to the side and say, hey, there's no sorry, we don't we supplies are limited.
Yeah.
But she was tantalized by this big mountain of bagels, which they would not sell her. And then she went down the block to another bagel shop, Chesapeake Bagels, and she ended up getting her full dozen there. And she was like, "That's it, I'm done with them forever." And
why do people do
I
that?
I don't know why you would be done with a place forever if you liked it, but I guess she was saying that in her mind things have been going downhill. But the things that she listed, I don't know if they were all true because I think a lot of it was attributable to it being the Jewish holiday. Because she was saying, "Oh, instead of having all this stuff in the display case, it was like all this prepackaged, pre-wrapped stuff." And I was thinking maybe a lot of places, including Grandpa's, yes, they had a lot of, pre-sliced. They cut it all early in the morning. It's fresh, but they just have it wrapped up, half pound, full pound, quarter pound of lox, and all that stuff in the little packages in the display case. So it's when things are the holidays, things are not normal. It's not the usual. It's like going to a seafood store on Christmas Eve, sometimes. I don't know if you've ever done the Feast of the Seven Fishes, Lubie, but yeah, that's where, if you try to get a pound of stone crabs on Christmas Eve, you have to pre-order it in advance. It's the same thing. If you want to have the jumbo shrimp, the Key West shrimp, you got to put an order a week in advance. Otherwise, you might see a pile of it in front of you, but it's all accounted for. So I just didn't think it was very fair, but it ended up being like 400 comments later. People got into a tizzy. And
Well, it's funny you bring this up because and it was the day before, and my mom was worrying about, like you said, that's the big idea is we're not supposed to eat, but let's stress about the breakfast, which is totally oxymoronic. And my mom is the queen of that. So my mom the day before actually wanted my dad to call, like instead of just going and getting bagels, she had him call them and ask if they had the exact bagel she wanted. And I'm like, it was early. It was like at 10 or 10:30, 11. It wasn't like 3, and you're expecting them to be out of bagels. So I'm like, why is she calling? Like, why is she not just send them in? She just wanted everything's in planes. Like, those are standard bagels. Like, why is she calling? But that makes a lot of sense. My mom isn't this lady. My mom is actually taking into account, even the day before, there's a lot going on with the holiday. There's a lot going on, period. These places, this is their freaking Super Bowl. Like, this is when even though the Jews who aren't religious become Jewish. So she was calling in to be not only considerate of them, but just make sure we were covered. I will never understand why people can't take into account situation like that to me. And we talk about that so much on this show and on that site. Like, come on, man. Like, it's like going and like on Christmas Eve and expecting to get a ham. It's like, it's 5 o'clock, lady, on Christmas Eve. Like, hello.
Now, I don't know this woman's, background situation. If she realized that it was Yom Kippur, if she realized that there is certain things that happen around that holiday that might, throw a monkey wrench in the usual routines. But in any event, it's funny just watching everybody the streams on these social media because, of course, there was one person who says all this for 6 bagels. It's just like it seems like. And then the woman was like, "Well, I had more people coming over, so I needed more than 6." So obviously, maybe the woman was Jewish or doing something around the holiday. So, and then I want to. Yeah, but here's the thing: when I'm moderating Let's Eat South Florida, I'm on my best behavior. I'm civil. But then there's the thing that's really in my head,
Clicks.
which is like, all right, so if you only have 6 bagels and you have more people than bagels, everybody gets a half, and then get a couple of tomatoes and just slice them and put the cream cheese and lox on the tomato. Then you have a low carb treat, and then it's like, I guess no, that doesn't work. And my sister-in-law was doing that last night, even though we had plenty of bagels. She just all of a sudden stopped eating the bagel because it's, carby and bread and filling. And she just started slicing. Well, I sliced this beautiful beefsteak tomato. It was very thin
Nice.
sliced. And she
Nice.
just started scooping the egg salad right on it and just picked up the tomato instead of half bagel, which I think is actually, that's a good idea. I got to start doing more of that because I'm getting a little puffy again. And and again, what you just did, tomato makes a good substitute, by the way. If you pile on whitefish salad on a tomato, it's good. A little cream cheese and lox on a tomato without the bagel, that's good. I would try even a little bit of sable on a tomato. That's good. And egg salad on a tomato is excellent. So yeah, who needs the carbs? If your bagel shop is running low, just go to a tomato. All right, that's what we learned today on the lunchbox. Hey, let's put in the good word. Yeah, when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade, right? But and you know what? The other thing is there was another alternative right down the block. Chesapeake makes
Yes, you're
pretty good bagels. And as somebody else pointed out in the group, it's like, really, is this what we're complaining about today when just 100 miles to our west, you've got people whose lives are utterly destroyed and ruined, and they're scrambling for food and water, and we're here fetching about 6 bagels. So, that's there we go. We're back in the whole perspective game, and that's crazy. But you want to go to a place that, well, they're never going to run out of bagels because they never have bagels, but they do have great steaks and all other kinds of goodies. Talking about our friends at Tropical Acres Steakhouse, the Studiali family. They have been in business a long time, 73 years, and we love them because it's a place to get great meals with great value, great hospitality, great service. Tropical Acres is at 2500 Griffin Road, just west of 95 in the airport. They're open every day but Sunday, along with their butcher shop, which is open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then the dining room opens at 4:30 for the early bird, along with happy hour in the bar until 6:30.
So the half price wine, I get it. Lobsters only a certain amount, especially with seasons and stuff like that. The half price wine, Monday and Tuesdays, year round.
Year round, Monday, Tuesday, half price wine night. And their wine list is already reasonable. Like it's already about 50% of what you find the same premium good bottles at some other high-end steakhouses. And then yet on top of that, another 50% off on Monday and Tuesday. You can't beat that deal. That's why you'll always find me celebrating any occasion, large or small, at Tropical Acres Steakhouse. Go there, get the prime rib, get the filet mignon, the rack of lamb, you get the seafood, the twin lobster specials. That time is running out on that. I got to check to see if that's going for another week or not, because this is the time of the year where it usually starts to peter out. But again, the holidays coming up, great place to go for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all the major occasions. Go to tropicalacres.com to see all the weekly specials, and go there better in person and check it out and tell them the Lunchbox sent you.
Coming up next, we wrap up another edition, spellbinding, food discussing, gross eating edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Thanks again to Kane Bradar for doing her best. We appreciate your time, Bandit. More Mike Mayo's Lunchbox next, right here on South Florida Live.
You like pizza? Who doesn't like pizza? Well, my spot for pizza is the Pizza Spot. It's in that little bit hard to find Riverside Park neighborhood of Fort Lauderdale, but it's totally easy to love. It's at 601 Southwest 12th Avenue, New Haven style, a pizza from Wade and Reese. It's a lovely outdoor spot. You could also pick up pies to go at 754-779-7788, 754-779-7788. Again, they're open every day but Monday for lunch and dinner. Some of the best pizza I've ever had. Go to Pizza Spot. They also have subs, salads, and more. Tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you. If you like seafood in a comfortable setting, outdoors, even keel fish shack at the corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea, that's my spot. It's upscale food in a down-home setting. The chef owners, Dave and Brad, do a terrific job with all the seafood classics that you want. They have the best grilled oysters in town, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, and deli fish specials. They also have weekend brunch Saturday and Sunday. They have deli happy hour 4 to 7, and they also have other weekly specials like mussels on Monday and oysters on Tuesday. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack and tell them that the Lunchbox sent you. People come to me and say, Mike, where should I go out to eat? I got guests coming from out of town. Where should we go? Cafe Seville. That's the answer. 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. It's a Fort Lauderdale perennial, serving the finest in Spanish and continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly, comfortable setting. Joey Esposito and Sally, his better half, they've been running the place for a long time. It's been open since the 1980s. They got great Spanish classics like paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, and all kinds of great seafood dishes. The stuffed veal chop, oh, that's my favorite. Go to Cafe Seville. It's open every day but Sunday at 5 p.m. for dinner. Tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. Do you like burgers? Do you like wings? Do you like late night food and sports on big screen TVs and cold beer and friendly vibe and great people? Then you want to check out Shenanigans. For 30 years, they've been doing a great job. The original location, West Side, 3303 Sheridan Street, just across from TY Park in Hollywood. Then there's the East Side location, 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. You go to Shenanigans, you get yourself all the good stuff, the fresh fish every day, the black and grilled wings, and of course, the kitchens are open late in both locations. Go there, tell them that the Lunchbox Mayo and Defo sent you. All right, Lubie, we're back on the Lunchbox. Defo is absent today, and everything just went to heck, I guess. We tried to talk with our friend Kate and Bradar, and that's okay. There's always another day, just like at the track. You know, some days things don't go your way. But it is National Noodle Day, and I'm falling back into my bad habits, Lubie, because I'm finishing up these noodles, and then I realize I've got a lunch engagement after this. So I'm going to be going for lunch.
Every day. I know Defo is both the devil and the angel on the shoulder. He wants you to be healthy because we love what we're doing with you. But then he also wants to see you eat because people love watching you eat. I am too morally sound to worry. I want our success, but I think we'll find success regardless. I want you healthy. And you're freaking me out a little bit.
I've been walking. I did my walks yesterday and today. All right. Well, I'll keep walking and I'll try to. I'm not going to eat too much. Actually, meeting up some of the poker buddies.
Nice.
Poker Sean, just he's starting a new business. He's got this luxury limousine, like calling it the Beast, and he just took possession of it yesterday. A brand new, I think, beautiful Mercedes stretch.
Oh, cool.
Kind of limo thing. And he's going to ride us. We're going to go down to Top Round today. He's jonesing for some of that roast beef sandwich. So we're going to ride there in his new limo. And we're going to be styling down at Top Round. See Dave, and he's got a special brisket sandwich going this week for the holidays. And it looked really good. He sent me a picture of it. So, you know, little noodles and a little brisket. I won't have any of the starch over there. No fries, no potato tots, nothing over there. I'm just going to have a brisket sandwich after my noodles here. And maybe a custard or a shake.
I was going to say, you're going to have custard. Don't even lie.
Yeah, who's kidding? But then no dinner. Tonight is going to be, you know, it's a very austere time tonight. But tomorrow is going to be fun. We're back on the road, thank God, because when we get out on the road, it's much better. We're going to call it a Visit Lauderdale edition. We might even get a special cameo appearance by Nikki Mohan tomorrow. But we're going to be out. My friend Keith Fryman, who operates and owns the Bake Shack right here in Dania Beach, my hometown. We've never been there or had him on as a guest on the Lunchbox. And it's a great little place that has all kinds of donuts and pastries, and they do breakfast and lunch. And we're going to go out there and spend a little time with Keith and his partner, business partner, Amelia. And we're going to have ourselves a time at Bake Shack tomorrow. That's, I think it's 236 South Federal Highway in Dania. So come on out tomorrow for 12 to 1 and join us.
The question I have for you is because we have talked actually a lot about the Bake Shack. I mean, they do some interesting things, and that mango donut was amazing. Let me ask you, this is the place that does that interesting sandwich that you're not a fan of, but now
the Doughboy. Yes.
Well, they have that because you've talked about this sandwich a lot. I want to try this sandwich. So,
yeah, you're gonna try. I told Keith tomorrow. I said I want you to bring out the Doughboys. We'll all sample it. I might reassess. But he also has they have like these cinnamon rolls and cinnamon buns that are like every bit as good as the place at the airport that everybody gets them. And he also has apple fritters, I think, you know, as good as the donuts are. And he does the creme brulee donut and the mango creme brulee and all these great, fantastic things. His apple fritter is outstanding. And also he does quiche. That's really nice. It's sometimes
we're eating a lot.
this real man eats quiche. So we're going to have some fun tomorrow. out at Bake Shack. Tune in. Hopefully, Defo will be around tomorrow too. We wish him well in his charitable endeavors today with the Mustang. Thanks for tuning in. And it's Mike Mayo from Mike Lubie Lubitz saying thanks. And remember to enjoy every noodle slurp and enjoy every sandwich.
Custard, peas, pudding, and saveloys.